Every single day, without pause, there is a silent war happening inside us. A battle not fought with weapons, but with words, images, opinions and news designed to shape us. What you see, hear, and feel is not neutral. There's an intention behind it, and often that intention is not to nourish your soul but to weaken your strength. Think for a moment. How many of the things you consume today truly added value to your life? How many brought you peace, hope, or motivation to keep going? Or did most of them bring fear, anxiety, anger, and frustration? That's what we need to talk about. We live in an era where information is abundant, but wisdom is scarce. Where noise is constant, but inner silence is rare. Every day, the world dumps invisible garbage on us. Toxic opinions, artificial conflicts, fear-loaded news, and without realizing it, we absorb it all as if it were inevitable. But it isn't inevitable. There is a different path. The first step is to understand that your heart is like a garden. What you plant there will grow. If you allow the soil of your inner self to be constantly invaded by seeds of fear and hopelessness, you can't expect courage and faith to bloom. The soil responds to what it receives. That's why inner vigilance is so important. It's not about ignoring the world, but consciously choosing what you let in. Have you noticed how after consuming a lot of negative content, it feels as if the weight of the entire world is on your shoulders? That's not a coincidence. Our emotions react deeply to what we feed them. It's like throwing garbage inside a house every single day. It doesn't take long for the air to become heavy, the atmosphere unpleasant, and health to start declining. What I want to tell you is simple but profound. You have the power to choose. Choose to turn off the TV when you realize the information is nothing but poison. Choose to stop following pages or people that feed your anxiety. Choose to seek sources that lift you up, that make you believe again that life can be beautiful. The world wants to convince you that everything is lost, that there's no way out, that evil has won. But that's a lie. Kindness still exists, love still transforms, and hope is still possible. But to see it, you must wipe away the dust they throw into your eyes every day. Your inner self is sacred. It's not a dumping ground. It's not an emotional sewer where anything can enter. It's a temple, and temples require care, cleansing, and reverence. Your peace is worth more than any urgent news that changes nothing in your life. Your energy is worth more than any empty online argument. If you don't guard your heart, the world will do it for you, and believe me, it won't be for your good. It's time to take control of what enters and remains within you. It's time to start saying no to what destroys you and yes to what strengthens you. When you start stepping away from this daily bombardment of emotional garbage, something curious happens. Silence begins to speak. At first, it might feel strange. The world is used to seeing you always reacting, always giving your opinion, always chasing the next topic that's blowing up on social media. But suddenly you start to slow down. That's when you discover there's an inner voice that until now had been suffocated. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand, it doesn't impose. It whispers. It's a voice of peace, clarity, and purpose. And, surprisingly, it's always been there. The problem is that surrounded by external noise, we rarely manage to hear it. What this voice says is simple but revolutionary. You don't have to carry the weight of the world. You don't have to be contaminated by the bitterness you're offered. You can live lightly, even in heavy times. But lightness doesn't come without effort. It takes discipline to protect yourself from what others try to place inside you. It's like keeping a house clean. It's not enough to sweep one day and forget about it for the rest of the month. It's daily care, constant attention. And that attention begins with the simple act of filtering. Filtering what you read, what you hear, what you watch. Even filtering the conversations you engage in. Often what destroys us isn't something huge, but small doses of negativity that we accumulate over time. A hurtful comment here, a tragic headline there, an unfair comparison on social media. And before we know it, we're exhausted. It's no wonder so many people feel drained without understanding why. Spirituality becomes an antidote in this process. I'm not talking about complicated rituals or following rules imposed by others. I'm talking about a genuine connection with what is divine and eternal. When you connect with God, with the Creator, with the Source, call it what you will, You begin to realize there's a flow of life that doesn't depend on what happens outside. This connection doesn't grow in the middle of chaos. It requires space, and space only appears when you choose to step away from the garbage thrown at you daily. It's as if, by closing the door to noise, you open a window for the light to come in. And this light, unlike the artificial one the world offers, doesn't tire your eyes. It heals. You'll also notice that when you feed yourself with good things, your outlook on life changes. Small gestures start to matter. A sincere smile, the song of a bird, the wind brushing your face. All of it gains meaning. It's like you begin to see colors again, that the flood of information had faded away. The world will try to pull you back into the whirlwind. It will tell you you're disconnected, that you need to stay updated, that you must have an opinion on every controversy. But remember, those who live only to react to chaos lose the chance to build peace. And peace is not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's where clarity is born to make good decisions, where strength comes from to face challenges, and where wisdom grows to avoid emotional traps. That's why you must defend it as something precious. Because it is. Protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's caring for what's most valuable in you. After all, what's the point of being informed if, to do so, you must constantly be wounded inside? Information without purpose is just another weight to carry. There comes a moment when you realize that living this way, filtering, choosing, protecting, is not just a form of defense, but an act of building. It's like ceasing to be a mere spectator of the world and becoming a gardener of your own soul. When you free yourself from the cycle of consuming everything thrown at you, you begin to see that you have power over what grows within you. And that power is transformative. Many believe inner change is something distant, reserved for isolated monks or spiritually advanced people. But the truth is, anyone can live this way. It all begins with a decision. The decision not to allow emotional garbage to dictate the taste of your days. When sustained, this decision grows roots. And these roots are firm because they are nourished by something greater than circumstances. They are nourished by faith, by truth, by love that does not change. You begin to realize that you are not a prisoner of the news, of social media, of other people's opinions. You start to choose what deserves your time and attention, and in doing so, you discover a rare gift: inner freedom. Freedom from being manipulated by fear. Freedom from needing to prove anything to anyone. Freedom to live with a clean heart, even if the world is dirty. And this freedom is an invitation to something even greater, to live for what truly matters. What will matter at the end of your life is not how many controversies you followed, but how many people you loved, how many times you chose to forgive, how many times you were light in the midst of darkness. The world may try to extinguish that light, but it cannot take away what comes from within, what is rooted in God. When your source is the eternal, you never run dry, because there is always more to receive and to give. This doesn't mean everything will be perfect, or that there will be no more pain. It means that even in the midst of pain, you will have a solid foundation. While many will be swept away by storms of fear and anger, you will remain standing, not because you are stronger, but because you have learned to protect yourself and nourish yourself with what is true. In the end, this entire journey is about remembering that your soul was not made to be a dumping ground. It was created to reflect the divine, to overflow with life and hope. But for that, you must stay vigilant. When you feel the weight of the world piling up inside you, stop, breathe, pray, reconnect with the source. Remember, you don't have to carry what isn't yours. You don't have to accept what you're offered if it doesn't. Life is too short to be spent on what destroys your inner self. And it's long enough to be filled with what builds, heals, and transforms. So today, make the choice that can change everything. Close the doors to garbage and open the windows to light. Feed what strengthens you, water what gives you hope, and allow your heart to be a place where peace dwells. In the end, this is the true revolution, not letting the world decide what you will feel, think, and be. Because when you care for your inner self, the outside may try to knock you down, but you will always rise.